Mike's Daily Podcast.
Welcome to Cafe Anyway. That's somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont. The last place on earth. It's Mike Matthews and
Mike's Daily Podcast.
The last podcast was called Avocado because we talked about that. Then this podcast came along and you know where it's at. It's called Mike Matthews and the podcast is called Mike Matthews Podcast. No, that's not. I'm appalled that I forgot the name of the podcast. What is it? I wish somebody would sing the name.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
That might be helpful. Broadcasting from Cafe Anyway, somewhere in Podcaster Valley, Mont, the last place on earth. Thank you for listening to the show.
Mike's
And
Daily
the last show
Podcast
was done via a different microphones. Today's microphone is slightly different. Can you tell? Can you see? Is it noticeable? Is that the kind of thing you pay attention to? You know, there's so many distractions in this world, isn't there? Let's talk about some of them. There is the phone in your pocket that then rings, or you get a text message, or there's an app you're hooked to, so you got to check that. Or let's say you're driving. That's distracting when you're driving. Oh, wait, you're not supposed to be distracted when you're driving. Maybe you are trying to cook right now. And you've got this guy, Mike Matthews, talking to you, but you're trying to cook and you're trying to follow the recipe. Though, so many things. Here's what I would like to tell you. There are ways to stay focused. And one of the biggest ways is to get rid of distractions. First thing first, you need to eliminate the distractions. While you can't do away with everything, you can make an effort to reduce or get rid of as many distractions as possible. Find a horse that's got one of those things on.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Blinders. Put the blinders on. Put the figurative blinders on, not the actual literal blinders. Start with simple things like moving to a quiet area. Oh, the podcast picture. I was explaining to someone today who is a new listener to the podcast that, yes, every single podcast that I've done has had a podcast picture. So today we will have one as well, which I will tell you about momentarily. But first, you need to move to a quiet area, which in my world doesn't exist. There is just so much. How do you find a quiet place? Basil. And then you've got Basil the boxer barking at you, telling you things like, Mike, I hate quiet. Quiet is boring. Well, thank you, Basil. The late, great Basil the boxer. So then this person told me, oh, well, I saw the podcast picture, but I didn't actually listen to the podcast. I didn't know, I don't listen to podcasts. That's just a whole other. How about this cool picture looking at the Oakland airport and the cool whipped cream coming over the mountains across the bay? This picture taken 4 years ago. But you know what? I don't really like it now that I'm looking at this picture because I had to use the zoom, and the zoom function on my phone back then was not that good 4 years ago. Maybe this is a little bit better. We'll go with one of these pictures from Fairmont Ridge. See it at mikesdailypodcast.com. Wondrous, wondrous place, Fairmont Ridge, that Basil the Boxer and I spent many a time at. Enjoying the beautiful views, looking out over the bay. It's an amazing place because you'll go there, you'll look out over the bay, and you get this appreciation of the Bay Area. And even when you get sick of it and angry and mad and, oh, property taxes are through the roof, oh, the traffic is horrible, oh, I can't find a quiet place because there's always somebody in a truck driving by at 3 a.m, waking me up. There's just so many things. Turn off notifications on your phone. Oh, there's a notification on my phone that tells me it's from the Samsung Cloud app that I didn't even know I had. That, hey, you need to back up your photos on Samsung Cloud. I fought tooth and nail to try and turn that thing off. I could not figure it out. I finally found out you have to delete the OneDrive app. And then there's one other thing you've got to do. I think you got to turn off the syncing, the thing, the SYNC, the sync mode on it so that it doesn't want to keep asking you. But that's annoying. Closing the door to your office. I had to do that today. I had so much going on, and closing the door helped. It was like it transported me to a new place. Telling those around you not to distract you for a period of time. Just leave me alone. Closing out programs or apps that aren't essential on your computer. We have so many tabs going. Maybe on our phones we got too many apps going. Seriously, we do. And I've said this before. Oh my. Give me a moment here. We're having issues. Oh, that's going to be annoying if that keeps happening. That's part of my job. That's not going to help me focus. That keeps going off. I think I need to turn that app off. Drinking coffee or other caffeinated beverages in small doses may have a positive impact on your ability to focus. The key to taking advantage of caffeine's cognitive enhancing properties is to consume it in moderation. If you drink too much of it, you may end up feeling anxious or nervous, which generally reduces your ability to stay focused. So you got to find the sweet spot. Practice the Pomodoro technique. Staying focused helps you get more done in less time. While that sounds simple enough, it's not always easy to put into practice. So the next time you're wrestling with your attention span, try this technique. The timing method helps you train your brain to stay on task for short periods of time. So you set your timer for 25 minutes and you get to work. When the buzzer sounds, you take a 5-minute break. Then you set the timer again and get back to work. Once you've done 4 rounds of this, you take a longer break, approximately 20 to 30 minutes. As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcast Row Valley, Mont. The Pomodoro technique, that's what that's called. I do not like that technique. That doesn't sound very good. I would like the Pomodoro pasta Pomodoro. That sounds good. Put a lock on social media. I just say delete the social media. Checking Facebook or Instagram every 5 minutes. You may want to consider an app that blocks social media, as well as apps and sites like YouTube, Netflix, Amazon, Twitter, text messages, even emails. Fuel your body. When you get hungry and you get hangry, or you get glycosamine, what do we used to call that? Glycokyragic? Something like that. I'm saying it wrong, but you get the idea. Yeah, so remember that you need brain foods. Green leafy vegetables like kale, spinach, and broccoli. Fatty fish such as salmon. Berries like blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries. Walnuts, which big in omega-3 fatty acids like salmon is. And tea and coffee for the caffeine in moderation. That's what I heard anyway. It's got the... Doesn't it have the omega-3 acids? Fatty acids, walnuts? Get enough sleep. And we've talked about that before. Set a SMART goal. SMART standing for specific. What exactly needs to be done? Measurable. How will you track your progress? Achievable. Is it realistic? Relevant. How does it fit into the overall plan of a bigger goal? And timely. When does it need to be done? Be more mindful. Does your mind tend to wander away from where it's supposed to be? You're not alone. Distracted thinking is common and something we all experience. These short mental vacations often make it harder to focus on the task in front of you. That's when mindfulness comes in. Being mindful means you can maintain a moment-to-moment awareness of where you are, what you're doing, which is great news when you're trying to stay focused. By being mindful and recognizing when your attention starts to drift, you can quickly bring your focus back to where it needs to be. Plus, you can actually train your brain to be more mindful by practicing breathing techniques, meditation, mindful movement, maybe yoga. Make a to-do list. I keep little scraps of paper around. I hardly ever throw... If a piece of paper has a back to it that's blank, I will cut that paper up into 3 pieces, and I use that for make a to-do list if I have to. And then focus on similar tasks. If you're tired of jumping from one type of thinking to another, multitasking, then pick tasks that are similar, group them together, and do one at a time. This makes transition smoother, and you may find that you get a lot more done by not jumping from one task to another. Multitasking is not more effective or efficient, especially when you're struggling with staying focused. In fact, the American Psychological Association reports that multitasking may reduce productivity by as much as 40%. Knowing how to zone in on what needs to get done and help you stay on track with your most important tasks each day is a great way to stay focused. And I got that from healthline.com. So we're outside a cafe anyway, somewhere in Podcastro, Valemont. Look who is here at this time. Hi, Mac. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing?
It's a Disgruntled Fiddle Player. Tell you what.
What?
So you're going to get interrupted a lot tonight, and you're not going to get focused, and you're going to be all scatterbrained.
Yes, scatterbrained. That's what I'm going to be. Because of certain things happening in my life. Things happen. Interruptions happen. Staying focused, not so much. I should have a picture for the podcast picture that's out of focus. That would work out. That would bring this all in a nice bow, tie it all nicely, bring it full circle. That. Look who else is here.
Hello, Mike. I made delicious root beer. Have some right now. Oh, boy.
I can't wait to drink it.
Drink it right now. I'll cut you.
All right. Gosh. Hey, it's in a mason jar, everybody. Yum. Well, that's going to do it for today's show. Outside, enjoying the mindfulness of the outside nature world and the birds and everything. Next show, it'll be the wonderful Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. You can chime in about anything we covered today. 336mm daily. 3 plus 3 equals 6mm as in Mike Matthews daily, as in what this podcast has been now for a couple days. It tries to be and all that sort of thing. Yes, that's right. What?
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye.
And that was episode 2292. Catch all the past podcasts at mikesdailypodcast.com. I got distracted.
Hold on.
Kombucha.